All right, we're going to get started for the organizational meeting, the first meeting of the Borough Town Board for 2021. I'd like to welcome everyone and ask the clerk for a roll call.
Councilmember Hogan.
Here.
Councilmember Noonan.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Kuzniers.
Here. Thank you, Leanne. And ask everyone to please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. So just want to get a little feedback from the board. As has been customary, we usually take them in groups to keep the meeting moving forward at a pretty good pace. I'm willing to do that this year. We can stop if somebody wants any discussions. Probably the greatest changes occur typically with the salaries and hourly rates for our employees. And so I'll start with the first resolution, which sets the 2021 salaries for elected officials. These numbers were already voted upon, which were required to do by statute in 2020. And as they are listed, they were previously ratified. Supervisor pay is $49,271. Each of the council members' pay is $12,607. Each town justice is $29,161. The town clerk salary is $47,076, and the highway superintendent is $60,837.
Do you want to keep going or take?
Yeah, up to the board. Want to keep going before we do motions to adopt?
I've got no reason to discuss number one, so.
Okay. Resolution number 2, setting the following respective annual salaries for a 52 week payroll or hourly rate as approved in the 2021 budget, except as otherwise provided for under town law, civil service law, or other applicable law, rule, or agreement. And I'll name the employee who go down the list as Leanne McCabe. For receiver of taxes and assessments, $9,161. Also in the roles records management officer, registrar of statistics. Fees in accordance with New York State Public Health Law, section 4173, subsection 3, it's $1,088. Leah Cronin, the assessor, is $66,300. Riley McQuiggan is senior assessment clerk full-time at $41,200. Art Gadway, crossing guard at Monroe, part-time, $1311 an hour. John Hayes at crossing guard at Tanglewood, part-time, same amount, $1311 an hour. John Helwig, crossing guard at Tanglewood, part-time, $1311 an hour. And Adeline Rivers, substitute crossing guard as needed at $12.50 per hour. Matt Dry Miller, the building inspector, code enforcement officer at $56,838. Kathy Perez, building inspector's clerk at $38,192. Theodore Mansour was laborer / cleaner part-time at $15.92 per hour. Art Gadway, cleaner part-time at $14.19 per hour. Michael Hastings, laborer part-time at the transfer station, $13.85 per hour. Jeffrey Stevens, laborer part-time at $13.58 per hour. Did they transpose those numbers? One says 85, the other says 58. Just double check. Right. No, that's the way it flows on that. Could be just a coincidence. Double check. Yeah, so it looks like Stevens. No, that's accurate. So continuing down the list, Mary Valencourt, transfer station clerk part-time is $13.11 an hour. Elizabeth Hall, transfer station clerk part-time, also $13.11 an hour. Elizabeth Hall, transfer clerk part-time, $13.11 an hour. Stephen Rice, transfer station labor clerk part-time, $13.11 an hour. Linda Hart, transfer station labor clerk part-time, $12.86 per hour. Marcia Morehouse, transfer station laborer / clerk part-time, $12.61 per hour. John McDermott, transfer station laborer clerk part-time at $12.50 an hour. Fred Coppola, also transfer station laborer clerk part-time at $12.50 per hour. Jeffrey Cruz, principal count clerk / typist, $53,800. Tammy Daly, clerk full-time, $40,000. Jamie Hickey, court clerk full-time, $33,994. Jennifer Miller, court clerk full-time, $35,893. Ron Palau, court clerk part-time, $13.19 per hour. Ed Scallo, court clerk part-time, $12.86 per hour in that role. In his role as court officer, it would be $16.50 per hour. Tom Garrity, court officer, is $16.50 per hour. Water superintendent Jesse Fish, the combined number, I'm not going to break it down by water districts, but the total will be $63,392 annually. Christian Mechanic, water department labor, will be $20.60 per hour. Peter Olszewski, recreation leader full-time, is $46,920 per hour annually. Salary. Dave Jones, working supervisor, is $19.29 per hour. Bruce Sergi, labor full-time at rec, is $17.07 per hour. James Davenport, labor part-time at rec, is $14.22 per hour. David Gould, labor full-time seasonal, is $13.37 per hour. Royce Pixley, labor part-time, is $13.91 per hour. Vincent French, labor part-time, $12.61 per hour. Benjamin Sperry, labor part-time, $12.86 per hour. Maureen Lurkey's clerk full-time highway department would be $15.16 per hour. Sean Dunbar, labor part-time, temp on call as needed, would be $14 per hour. Roy Skilligan, labor part-time temp on call as needed, also is $14 per hour. And David Smith, labor part-time temp on calls needed, $14 per hour. So, any questions on those? No. Hearing none, I ask for a motion to adopt. Actually, it keeps going through the rest of those on the resolution number 2. The supervisors at will appointments, budget officer, $2,627. Lisa Sperry, confidential secretary, assistant bookkeeper, $45,320. Kyle Noonan, deputy supervisor, would be unpaid. Kyle Noonan as town representative for Saratoga County Advisory Youth Board. And then we have the committee appointments, which are attached, which are the same as last year. My line of thinking is that the supervisor's term is for 2 years. That would keep everybody in those positions for that duration. And then we can revisit it with the next go around. And for the record, I'll run down real quickly. Buildings and grounds, council members Hogan Noonan. Cable TV, council members Noonan and Donahue. Cemetery, council members Hogan Donahue. Economic small business technology development, council members Van Tassel and Noonan. Highway Department, council members Hogan and Donahue. Industrial Park, council members Noonan and Van Tassel. Insurance Committee, council members Hogan and Donahue. Local waterfront revitalization would be council members Van Tassel and Donahue. Personnel and employee compensation, council members Van Tassel and Noonan. Recreation Committee, council members Van Tassel, Hogan. Transfer station landfill would be council members Hogan and Donahue. Water districts and sewer one would be council members Noonan and Van Tassel. The fire company liaison would be council member Noonan. Crandall Library liaison would be council member Van Tassel. Monroe Community Center liaison would be council members Van Tassel and Donahue. Monroe Emergency Squad liaisons, council member Hogan, and zoning liaisons are council members Noonan and Hogan. Also under resolution 2, town clerks at will appointments include deputy town clerk and receiver of taxes Jill Bennett for 52 weeks annual salary of $35,500. Deputy registrar of biostatistics Jill Bennett, which entitles her to have the birth and death certificate filing fees paid to the registrar in accordance with New York State Public Health Law, section 4173, subsection 3. The highway superintendent appointments include deputy highway superintendent Christopher Abrams to be compensated per the CSEA contract. So those include resolutions 1 and 2. Motion to approve. Any discussion?
Just real quick, I don't know if it was that fact last year or not, but I think you had appointed me to be a school district liaison one more time. Did I miss that in here, or is that? Which I'm fine with.
You still want to do it?
Well, if it's something you want to still have. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of communication has gone back and forth with the district and town hall. Not once have they actually asked me to look at anything for them, so I don't even know if you need it.
I'm happy making that appointment if you'd like.
Oh, well,
I
that's up to
don't
you.
want to cause any conflict after the school district.
I mean, it wouldn't cause any conflict, I just didn't
Okay.
know if it was something that you wanted to have down here.
So we will include in the supervisor appointments, appointing council member Noonan as the liaison to the South Bend Falls Central School District.
They're gonna call you anyways.
Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
They are approved unanimously. So I think what I'll do now is take resolutions 3 through 10. Resolution 3 is a resolution setting non-employee compensation per annum of $1,080 for a local historian and requiring monthly reports to be submitted prior to the request for a stipend. Resolution 4, setting stipend for planning board members at $50 per meeting for each attending member, including alternate members, and $60 per meeting for the chairperson. Resolution 5, setting stipend for planning board secretary at an amount not to exceed $100 per meeting. Resolutions, couple extra.
0.
That is not 100,000. Otherwise, I'm switching jobs. You got that, Lynn? Resolution number 6, setting stipend for zoning board of appeals members at $50 per meeting for each attending member, including alternate members, and $60 per meeting for the chairperson. Resolution 7, authorizing any planning board, zoning board of appeals member who sits as an acting chair in the absence of the appointed chair shall receive $60 chairperson stipend for that meeting. Resolution 8, setting a stipend for zoning board of appeals secretary at an amount not to exceed $100 per meeting. Resolution 9, setting a stipend for board of assessment review members at an amount not to exceed $70 per meeting. Resolution 10, authorizing the supervisor to sign the following contracts and make payment in the amounts and terms stated in the contracts for the South Bend Falls Fire Company Incorporated, Monroe Emergency Squad Incorporated, the Civic Center of Monroe Incorporated, Saratoga County Animal Shelter, Saratoga County Youth Bureau, Saratoga County Office for the Aging Nutrition Agreement, City of Glens Falls Transportation Agreement, our contractor Josh Vinsek, who's the dog control officer for dog control services, and finally a contract with Professional Fire Protection Incorporated. Any questions? Well, actually, so move. Second. Any discussion on any of this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we'll take resolutions 11 through 15 together. Resolution 11, allowing the supervisor to extend a loan to the town clerk in the sum of $200 for 1 year for the purpose of making change, and petty cash and receiver taxes $250 for the purpose of making change. Resolution 12, authorizing the town clerk the right to accept bingo and games of chance licenses and amendments, and the authority to approve same. Resolution 13, requiring all purchases exceeding $1,000 to be made with properly approved purchase orders and not be purchased without prior town board approval. All purchases that exceed $500 must be competitively priced with 3 quotes, with preference given to local vendors, except highway department and water department purchases, which may be made without prior town board approval up to $2,000, subject to being competitively priced. And then obviously purchases over $2,000 would require 3 written quotes and a town approved purchase order. Resolution 14, designating Glens Falls National Bank as and trust as a depository for town monies. And finally, resolution 15, designating Glens Falls Post Star and Chronicle as the official newspapers to be used for all legal advertising.
Second.
Any discussion on any of those? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Resolution 16. All right, resolution 16, setting forth the following employee policies for all full-time employees hired prior to the January 107, applicable to elected officials or those employees covered under CSA contract, and defining full-time as any permanent employee working 20 hours per week or more on a regular continuing basis, and a part-time as any permanent employee working less than 20 hours per week on a regular basis. For vacation leave, full-time permanent employees will earn vacation leave upon completion of the employee's anniversary date of employment as follows. 1 to 5 years of service would be 2 weeks vacation, 6 to 10 years of service, 3 weeks vacation, 11 to 19 years of service, 4 weeks vacation, and 20 plus years of service would be 5 weeks vacation. Full-time permanent employees hired on or after January 1, 2007 will earn vacation leave upon the completion of their anniversary date of employment as follows. First through the 4th anniversary would be 2 weeks vacation, 5th through the 11th anniversary would be 3 weeks vacation, 12th anniversary and beyond would be 4 weeks vacation, except that those full-time permanent employees that work less than a standard work week shall be prorated. Unused accrued vacation time may be carried over annually up to 10 work days, not to exceed a maximum of 30 days accrued vacation, but unused vacation time will not be paid in cash. Vacation schedule shall be approved in advance by each department head. The department head will notify the town supervisor of all vacation schedules approved for all employees in their department. All department heads should request approval of their vacation schedule in advance by the town supervisor. In relation to sick leave. Sick leave is leave with full pay for an employee's absence due to his or her illness or disability. Sick leave may be used by an employee due to the illness of his or her spouse, child, or parent, or the illness of any person residing with the employee. All employees after 6 months of continuous service shall be entitled to 1 day of paid sick leave for each month of service commencing with the first day of employment. Unused sick leave may be accumulated but cannot be paid in cash at any time. Any employees calling off sick shall notify their department head. The department head will in turn notify the town supervisor, and department head calling off sick shall notify the town supervisor directly. After 5 working days of sick leave or 7 calendar days, the employee must apply for New York State disability insurance benefits, and his or her sick leave pay shall be reduced by the amount of disability benefits he/she receives. For each day of sick leave after the 5th working day or 7th calendar day, the employee shall be able to utilize their leave accruals and be paid their full salary by the town. Town will retain the employee's disability payment and credit the employee's leave accruals accordingly. Any non-union employee that retires from the town with an excess of 200 accumulated sick days will be eligible to receive a monthly credit of either $100 toward their co-payment of health insurance premiums or a $100 monthly cash payment as a health insurance buyout if they are not currently a member of the town's health insurance plans for every 20 days of accumulated sick leave in excess of the 200 accumulated days. Any employee out on disability shall not accumulate additional sick time and shall pay the percentage of health insurance copay established by the town board resolution while on disability if they are not receiving town wages. Moving on to personal leave. Personal leave is leave with full pay to enable employees to attend to personal business, including religious observance. Such leave is intended to provide employees with time to conduct their necessary personal affairs, and it is not intended to be and shall not be used as additional vacation leave. All full-time permanent employees shall receive 4 personal days per year, prorated for new hires. Unused personal days shall be carried over as sick leave at the end of the year. On to bereavement leave. Bereavement leave is leave with full pay for all full-time permanent employees for the purpose of attending the funeral, for religious observance, or for such other purposes relating to the death of a member of an employee's immediate family. Immediate family is defined as a spouse, child, child spouse, sister, brother, parent, grandparent, grandchild, mother-in-law, or father-in-law of the employee. It shall also include any person residing with the employee. Such leave must be approved by the supervisor and should not extend more than 3 days. Employee leave records. All employees will be responsible for maintaining an accurate ongoing accounting of his or her used and unused leave time on forms provided by the town. These forms shall be submitted with written approval of department heads to the supervisor's office bi-weekly. Time cards. It shall be a violation of town policy for any employee to stamp another employee's time card. Such violations may result in termination of the offending employee. Holidays. All permanent full-time employees shall be granted 12 paid holidays, with holiday being the same as the employee's workday as follows. New Year's Day, President's Day, Thanksgiving Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Martin Luther King Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and Good Friday. If a holiday falls on a Saturday, the day of observance shall be the previous Friday. If a holiday falls on a Sunday, the day of observance shall be the following Monday. Unused holidays may not be carried over. Employee benefits. All full-time year-round permanent employees, and see definition, and their eligible dependents will be entitled to receive the following benefits. The New York State Employees Retirement Plan, where unused sick leave may be converted as additional service credit upon retirement. New York State Disability Insurance, and Saratoga County Self-Insurance Plan, which is workers' compensation. Also insurance benefits. All full-time year-round permanent employees as defined and their eligible dependents shall be offered medical, prescription, optical, and dental insurance benefits pursuant to programs approved by the town board. An employee who declines such insurance shall be entitled to the health insurance buyout. All current non-union employees will be required to contribute 20% towards their health care expenses, and all former non-union employees who retired from the town on or after January 1, 2008 will be required to contribute 15% towards their health care expenses. All new full-time employees hired on or after January 1, 2019 will be required to contribute 25% towards their health care expenses. Those covered under the CSEA contract will be covered as per the contract. And the above insurance benefits will also be extended to the town supervisor, town clerk, and highway superintendent, and grandfathered part-time elected officials, except that eligibility for retirement health insurance benefit for elected officials shall only apply to the town supervisor, town clerk, and highway superintendent. Unless the town board designates a probationary waiting period at the time of hire, these benefits will become effective 30 days within a 30-day period after the day of employment. So that is resolution 16. So,
Second.
any discussion? I was gonna ask you to read it again. Kidding.
The other discussion I had, how does COVID leave, is it effective or, somebody's told to stay home because of COVID, even though they're not sick. Do they get paid if they're home?
Yes, the short answer is yes, and they were protected under the federal act, which expired at the end of 2020. However, when that expired, the state has its own requirement in place, which requires employers to pay anybody who must quarantine, and it will not come from their accrued time.
And that does not need to be covered in this.
Well, it's state, I guess it's state regulation law, so I don't think we have to, I mean, can't do any contrary to state law.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed, motion carries unanimously. We'll take 17 through 22 together. Resolution 17 is in relation to a town employee who is an active volunteer of the Monroe Emergency Squad of South Pennsylvania Volunteer Fire Company and a member in response to an emergency during a normal workday shall be covered by policy on fire emergency calls as adopted by the town board on March 28, 2017. Resolution 18, authorizing reimbursement to a town official and employee for use of his or her own personal vehicle for town business and setting that rate at the rate set by the Internal Revenue Service, which I just got to notice on that thing, it dropped to half a penny from last year, maybe 57.5 cents per mile. It's down half a penny from 2020. However, town employees must receive prior town board approval for mileage reimbursement. In addition, all employees, elected and appointed officials must receive town board approval prior to attending a conference or seminar if expenses for saying that are to be a reimbursed expense by the town. The town board employee conference reimbursement expense worksheet receipts must be submitted to the supervisor's office prior to town board approval. Resolution 19, designate a supervisor as a representative for the town to attend the annual business session of the Association of Towns of the State of New York to be held virtually this year on between February 14th and 17th, 2021, and to cast the vote of the aforesaid town pursuant to section 66 of Article 3 of the Constitution and bylaws of said association, and in the absence of the supervisor, the deputy supervisor is designated to cast a vote for the town, and in the absence of the deputy supervisor, any designated member of the town board may cast a vote. Resolution 20, designating Hampshire for the term of our current policy as the insurance broker of record for commercial package policy and umbrella, including general liability, public officials liability, auto, fire, inland marine, and town officers and employees bonds currently in effect. Resolution 21, authorizing the town clerk to collect all water and sewer rents and receive all applications and fees for taps in water districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, as well as sewer district 1. And finally, resolution 22, authorizing and accepting as the official undertaking of the following bonds for the town officers and employees. For supervisor, 140,000, deputy supervisor, 140,000, town clerk / tax collector, 140,000, deputy town clerk / tax collector, 140,000, principal account clerk, 140,000, transfer station booth attendant, 140,000, and 2 full-time court clerks, each at 140,000. All other elected and appointed officials, town employees shall be bonded for $90,000. Any discussion?
Next, number 18.
18, yeah.
Reimbursement for mileage. I'm just curious, in the past few years, it's come up where there have been multiple folks attending the same conference, taking multiple vehicles. How do we, is that something that we pay out mileage to all? If they're taking their own vehicle? I mean, now, no one's going anywhere, I get that, and I think probably going forward, we would encourage people to take multiple vehicles. So that's something that we can pay out.
So historically, if you're using your own separate vehicle, you would be paid. We have encouraged, like with the building department, we have multiple employees going to the same event. We would encourage them to use the same vehicle or a town vehicle.
Right.
But one of the issues that you run into, if you're going to have a policy where you direct that they use the same vehicle, we don't want to cause problems with potential problems with opposite sexes riding, that sort of thing. So we've never done any more than this.
That's fine, and I think another thing that can come up too, I think, like, say you have to bring your children somewhere before, maybe you don't want them in the car while they're recording, so that's fine, I just wanted to, have that in front of my brain, because at some point again, conferences will start and people will be asking for reimbursements, and it's a discussion that's come up almost every time, since we've had a vehicle, so now we know, and now I know, thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions, discussion?
On number 20 of the resolution designating interest for current policy,
Yeah.
we are exploring another option. Waiting to hear back from the upstate insurance company.
So we already adopted, I think we had to adopt it in November for December 1, if you recall, but this would be, so yes, to answer your question for the next go around, so we are, we have been meeting with other brokers. Yeah. Which is just good public policy to make sure we know it's available before we make our decisions.
Right. Wanted to let it be known that we are looking at
Yes.
other brokers.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. So we'll take a look at resolutions 23 through 30. Resolution 23 designating the regular monthly meetings of the town board be set for the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. And the month-end meetings will be held at 6:45 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month for the regular meeting of the town board, unless otherwise designated by town board resolution. If you recall, we had it set at 6:30. There seemed to be a consensus that 6:45 would probably be more efficient use of everybody's time. So that's that change. Resolution 24, establishing the policy that minutes of all town board meetings be completed and made available for review by the town board within 2 weeks following the meeting, and that all audio recordings of town board meetings be made available to the public via the town's website within 3 official work days. Resolution 25, requiring all department heads to submit a monthly report to the town board 3 business days prior to its regular scheduled bi-monthly meeting, outlining pertinent department activities, data, and issues the town board should be made aware of. Resolution 26, designating the town clerk as the official responsible for notifying the media of regular and special town board meetings in compliance with New York State Open Meetings Law. Resolution 27, authorizing diesel, oil, and gasoline for highway department to be purchased at state bid price or below. A Sprague Operating Resources LLC on state contract number PC 68214, which is for diesel fuel for the 2021 budget year. B, Global Untitled Group Corp., which is state contract number PC 68456 for gasoline for the 2021 budget year. And finally, C, Morton Salt Incorporated on county contract number 20-PWS-10R for rock salt for the 2021 budget year. Resolution 28, authorizing South Falls Fire Company, Civic Center of Monroe Incorporated, South Falls Central School, Saratoga EOC Head Start, Saratoga County Public Health Nurse, Recreation and Building Departments, Transfer Station, Sewer Department, Water Departments to purchase diesel and gasoline from the Town Monroe Highway Department to be invoiced appropriately. Resolution 29, authorizing the Highway Superintendent to hire temporary employees to help with snow and other operations as needed at $14 per hour. Resolution 30, authorizing the Highway Superintendent to negotiate with the Superintendent of Highways of any municipality within the counties of Saratoga, Warren, and Washington to provide for the reciprocal use of town-owned highway machinery, tools, or equipment upon such terms and conditions as agreed upon by parties, including the town board. Resolution 31, authorizing the Highway Superintendent to attend the New York State Transportation and Federal Surplus Act auctions and be authorized to purchase items for the Highway Department, pending approval of the town board for all items purchased costing $3,000 or more within monies budgeted for such purposes. And resolution 32, authorizing the expenditure of town highway funds in the amount of $649,250 for general repair and improvement of the 84.58 miles of town highways, sluices, culverts, and bridges having a span less than 5 feet, and boardwalks or the renewals thereof and permanent improvement of town roads. No money set aside for such improvements shall be expended, nor shall any work be undertaken in such improvements until the highway superintendent and the town board approves the expenditures specifications and estimates for such construction. And finally, resolution 33, authorizing the supervisor to pay postage to refill postage meter, utility bills, state retirement, health insurance, leases, town board approved cash advances, and payments due on contracts prior to audit. I'd like to move those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. All right, we'll take resolutions 34 through 42.
Can you take 34 by itself?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yeah. So we'll do 34 as a standalone. Resolution authorizing engaging the following firms for professional services per the 2021 rate schedule unless otherwise noted. Barton Judas, CT Mail Associates, PC, LA Group, LaBerge Group, MH Professional Engineering PLLC, Bartlett Pontiff Stewart Rose PC, Taverner Ryan Kinnery LLP, Lewis and Greer PC, and Store Technology Solutions Incorporated.
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye. Abstain. I'd like to abstain just from the Sport Tech Solutions, but if it's all one resolution, if I have to abstain from all, I'm not sure.
No, we're just doing this one, stand.
Just the sport.
Yeah, so we're just voting on resolution 34.
Correct. So I was abstaining from all or from just, can I just abstain?
Whatever,
So I would just abstain from the Sport Tech Solution, but I would agree to the rest.
yeah, that's the end. Any opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. In relation to contractor Store Technology Solutions Incorporated. Resolution 35, authorizing town officers, employees who collect town fees or other payments to impose a service charge on all return checks as per general municipal law section 5-328. Resolution appointing G. Peter Jensen, chairman of the planning board. Resolution appointing John R. Arnold to the planning board for a term expiring 12/31/2027. Resolution appointing Matt Manning to the zoning board for a term expiring 12/31/2024. A resolution appointing Gerald Endall to the zoning board for a term expiring 12/31/2025. And a resolution appointing Gerald Endall chairman of the zoning board. Resolution 41, conferring the benefits of section 18 of the public officers law upon the town's employees as that term is defined in section 18, section 1, subsection B of the public officers law, and to be held liable for costs incurred under section 18 of the public officers law. Resolution 42, requiring the following to file an oath of office prior to commencement of their employment for each newly elected term. That shall include the highway deputy, the deputy town clerks, building inspector / code enforcement officer, planning and zoning board members, court officers, and the dog control officer. I'm gonna move those.
So.
Second.
Any discussion?
My only question is it Gerald Endall or Gerald?
That's it, Gerald. Gerald.
Gerald?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we know him as Jerry, but this is official.
Okay, I'm just looking at it, I wasn't sure that was discussing.
No, you were not. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimous. All right, we'll take 43 through 53. Resolution 43, to pay an employee who serves on active duty his or her normal wages with the understanding that if they only have to serve on jury duty, I'm sorry, did I leave out active jury? I think I left the word out. I'll start over. Resolution 43, to pay an employee who serves on active jury duty his or her normal wages with the understanding that if they only have to serve on jury duty for a portion of the workday that they will return to work, subject to proof of service from the Commissioner of Jurors. Resolution 44 authorizes Saratoga County Animal Shelter to issue dog licenses on behalf of the town of Monroe prior to the release of any impounded dog to a town of Monroe resident pursuant to Article 7 of New York State Agricultural Markets Law. Resolution 45, setting a time limit of 5 minutes per person to speak during the public hearings with additional time to be allowed after others have been heard. Resolution 46, setting a time limit of 3 minutes per person to speak during the privilege of the floor after recognition by a supervisor or presiding officer at a town board meeting, and after first identifying her name and address. The nature of the conversation shall be for the purpose of legitimate town business. Resolution 47, authorizing payment of $10,000 to the Historical Society of Monroe in South Glens Falls. Resolution 48, authorizing the supervisor's office to accept block, faxed, scanned, and electronic signatures from vendors on vouchers for payment, including photocopies signatures. Resolution 49, terminating town employee, specifying that a terminating town employee shall receive their final paycheck upon return of all town property in his or her possession. Resolution 50, that a town employee voluntarily terminates employment of the town within 2 years following the date of the completion of the training required in his or her work duties. The employee shall reimburse the town for the cost of the training incurred by the town as determined by the training reimbursement agreement signed by the employee. Resolution 51 says that an elected appointed official or town employee shall be prohibited from accepting gifts in his or her official capacity to the town with a value that exceeds $15. Resolution 52, specifying that a prospective town employee fails to appear at pre-employment physicals shall be subject to a deduction of such costs associated with the exam from their compensation as a town employee. And finally, Resolution 53 states that a salaried town employee that is not a department head and is requested to attend a town board meeting or workshop by a member of the town board or a department head shall accrue compensation time equal to the duration of time of the meeting, and such accrued time can only be used within the calendar year it is earned.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And now for the remainder of 54 through Resolution 61. 54, Resolution 54, allowing any employee an excused leave not to exceed 4 hours on an annual basis to undertake screening for cancer. Resolution 55, prohibiting the use of all tobacco products and vaping in or on all town-owned or operated property and vehicles to provide a safe and healthy work environment for all employees. Vaping includes the use of electronic nicotine delivery systems or electronic smoking devices such as e-cigarettes, e-pipes, e-hookahs, and e-cigars. Resolution 56, pursuant to Town Law Section 158, the Town Board of the Town of Monroe establishes the Office of Peace Officer and/or Special Police Officer who shall be appointed on a temporary basis from time to time as Town Board determines the services are necessary with the compensation and uniform and equipment purchase as the Town Board shall fix. Resolution 57, requiring all department heads to submit requests for Town Board agenda by 12 p.m. of Friday preceding the regularly scheduled board meeting. Resolution 58, setting the public hearing for the Monroe Emergency Squad 2021 contract with the town on January 26, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Resolution 59, setting the public hearing for the South Glens Falls Fire Company 2021 contract with the town on January 26, 2021 at 6:35 p.m. Resolution 60, appointing Charlene Engel to the Ethics Advisory Board for a term expiring on 12/31/2024. And finally, a resolution adding 350 hydrants attached to infrastructure within the town water districts to the town's liability insurance policy at a cost annually of $1,865. The resolution doesn't say that, but there's a $500 deductible with that other policy. Typically, I think the cost of a hydrant is about $2,800 to purchase it and install it. Jesse?
Beg your pardon?
Cost of a hydrant to buy and install?
It can run anywhere from you know, a full hydrant to just a part of the hydrant that needs to be replaced, so you're looking at the possibility of upwards of $6,000-7,000 for a repair.
Yeah, so basically, when we do have, damage, we try to collect it from, if it's a vehicle, from their insurance, policy, but if there's a drive out or something, you know, just, this one expense will pay for it, several times over, you know, so, and we had talked about that, I think, earlier. So, somebody would like to move those resolutions.
I'll move. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. I think that's all for the resolutions, and I think that's all we have to do for the organization meeting. Those public hearings are right before they will have more. Be the audit meeting will be at 6:45 on the 26th. The public hearing will be at 6:30 to 6:35. So I think we'll put them on because typically we don't have a lot of discussion on those from public. Trying to be efficient with everybody's time. Anything else in the organizational meeting? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn the organization. Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Awesome, thanks. And I have copies of the contract, contracts in my office. We'll get those.